In this video I'm going to show you how to prepare your new Microsoft Teams class for teaching. You need to follow this process once for the first time you use each of your classes to ensure that things like the class notebook and assignments are set up and ready to go. So in my class here you'll see a number of tabs at the top of the page. I have posts, which is my conversation threads with students. I've got a file section, and it's in here that I can use the upload option to upload any teaching materials that I might be using. And I've got my class notebook. Now, using the class notebook is the easiest way to do things like set assignments and provide students feedback on work. But the first time you access it, you'll get this message which says set up a class OneNote notebook. If you don't do this first, the students won't be able to access the notebook, so it's important you do this before your first lesson. So click set up a OneNote class notebook and select a blank notebook. You can, if you want to import content from another notebook, but the easiest way to set this up at this time is to select blank notebook. And you'll see this space. So by default, within the class notebook, you'll get the following options: a collaboration space where teachers and students can work together to update pages, a content library, which is an area where you can put your teaching resources, so you can edit that area but students can't, and the student notebook. And this is really important for your students. This is a private notebook for each student, which you can access, but only they can access their own content, and it allows them to complete work and return it back to you, and you can see what they're doing live. So I'm going to click next, and here you can set up some spaces in each of the students' private notebooks. So by default you get handouts, class notes, homework and quizzes. You might want to remove some of these, maybe they're not relevant to your lesson. But you might also want to add some of your own, so you could put something like create sections for each lesson. Lesson 1, 2. And that's completely customizable, and the student can change that later on, and you as a teacher can also push new sections out later on as well. And now I'm just going to click create. So this process where it's getting your class notebook ready can take a few minutes. So again, it's important you do this prior to the lesson. But once that's completed, your notebook will automatically be set up and ready to go. And you can leave that running in the background. So I'm going to leave that running, and we'll come back to it in a minute. And then I'm going to move on to the assignments tab at the top. Now it's in the assignments tab where you can set homework and assignments for students, and allow them to return work to you. So to set this up, click Get Started, and that's it. That's all you need to do in this section. And from here, I can then create assignments as normal. If I click Grades, the Grades tab will now start to populate as well. So I'm going to nip back to my class notebook. And you can see the class notebook is already prepared for you. And if I click on the left hand side here, you can see all of the sections we were looking at earlier on. So we've got our collaboration space, our content library, and also a section for each of my students with the lesson sections added that we populated earlier on. So that's all you need to do to prepare your class. I'll go into some more detail later on about how to set assignments and use some of the features that we've set up, but they are the main steps you need to go through in order to prepare your class for teaching.